Hello out there and good morning, everyone. It is April 29th, 2024. Welcome to the Apteros Daily Market Insight. So, taking a look at our recap from our last DMI, which is on the 26th, we had kind of a more neutral stance in terms of where we were located. It was a difficult day, I can recall, to rank and distill things down into clear lines in the sand, clear areas where things made a lot of sense. And at the end of that process, I essentially came to two conclusions. Bullish line in the sand was definitely lower for the overall bullishness in the market. This neutral area here was the most clear scenario in the higher price range for the bullish slash bearish short term picture. So we really, whenever we were breaking down the DMI, we're focused on this upper neutral zone as the early deciding factor for whether or not you would get a more bullish scenario to the upside or a little bit more of a pullback or a deeper move to the downside, heading down into lower destinations, possibly for the test of the bearish, or I'm sorry, test of the bullish condition. So that was kind of the breakdown of the general feel what was going on the last DMI that we were doing, and I explained this a lot more in depth, obviously, to the students, and that was the general conclusion, right? It was more about this upper area here if we were going to maintain a very bullish scenario, and if we broke that down, things were going to get more and more difficult to read and less clear until you get down into this zone here, which was kind of the end of the line for the bulls overall in the narrative in the market. So what do we end up seeing on that fateful day on Friday here? We got a pullback coming into the open, a hold right here with the more bullish scenario, playing out scenario one straight into our first target, and that was pretty much it. So kind of a one and done scenario where you got the inflection at the lows, popped in through here, pretty much nailed the low and high a day, and then the market just kind of meandered from there, and didn't really do much in terms of breaking out and going to the main stretch target that's up above, and that was really it. So let's take a look at what's going on today. Okay, so now looking at today, we have two lines in the sand in general, but this is the more bullish scenario. So we have a line in the sand up above here where we're looking at scenario one, holding up above that zone and heading into that stretch target that we've been monitoring for a couple of days now. Scenario two would be a breakdown of that and a good short-term opportunity to get short and follow this market possibly back into the main higher time frame kind of line in the sand area. So that's the general layout of what we're looking at here overall in the game plan. Now we do have a neutral zone here. This is kind of the prior value. This is the PVA that we've been looking at from Friday, and it basically built out because of what happened, into the late afternoon, just kind of building out value here in this range. So this is the prior value area. Now the reason why this is important is because with our bullish scenario, we could easily see this market possibly pull back, meander around here, break, and continue to the upside. This is still scenario one using the neutral references, right? It could also pull back, come down into here, and if we get something like this where it pulls back, comes down into this area, we could end up just kind of hanging around these neutral zones for the session, with our main line in the sand area being lower. This is all in line with scenario one, right? To get to the stretch target, you're going to have to hold above the prior value area high, right? So if you hold above this prior value area high, then you're looking at more of like an open space, a little bit more of a trending type of scenario out in this area here where you want to see energy from the bulls, however you measure that, whether that's price action, whether that's order flow of some kind, however you do that. But you're going to look for a more trending type of environment in this upper scenario here to get to the stretch target. Otherwise, our main target really is kind of that's the expectation if we get a deeper pullback into the line in the sand for scenario one. So you'd end up, getting to the first target, getting inside of that, then heading back up to this area here. And maybe if there's not a lot of energy, getting a stop run above these highs. You can see these are pretty vulnerable here in terms of there's just a lot of stacked highs there. So looking for that stop run for a little bit extra possibly on this target zone, is kind of the general expectation according to what we do as Nadro traders. All right. So that's the full kind of breakdown of scenario one. With scenario two, if we end up seeing that, we have neutral references down below, but the general idea is that we're likely going to retrace down into some upper time frame bullish areas. So the first target really is this one, and that's kind of the main target for the idea. If you get into scenario 2 is that first neutral reference, then you start getting into stretch targets if you're holding below that, right? If you're holding below that, you head down into the main line in the sand area here where you have to monitor this area for, I guess you'd call it scenario 3, which is the hold of the bullish area there. And scenario 4 would be a full breakdown of everything. And that would really be heading down into some lower neutral areas as well. Just something to pay attention to if you get down into that zone. And that scenario 4 kind of starts playing out. But for right now, the general expectation, what we're looking at in the actual session, this is the main line in the sand early for the session. Scenario 1 being bullish up above, scenario 2 being bearish below. Main target areas for those are here and here, these two neutral references. And then, of course, if you get any stretch targets from there, that's just kind of bonus. And the stretch targets are down here and up here. And you have to monitor those. I guess you could put stretch target here, right? A little ST for stretch targets. And that would be kind of like the market is in a particular state or trending in a particular state on the intraday environment, right? So we'll be trending down into this area or trending up into that area. Otherwise, mainly just kind of like a normal expectation for targeting would be this one for the bullish, this one for the bearish, if we get the pullback from there, right? So for scenario 1, if you get the full pullback, that's the main target. If you don't get that pullback and you hold up above this area, you're trending with scenario 1, possibly up into the stretch target. All right, trade well out there, mind your risk, and have a wonderful trading day.